When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ledlow, and enjoy today's episode.
So you get through that point where you're struggling with your dad, and like you said, you had a relationship with your dad. And like probably any guy that's in his 20s, 30s, it is what it is, you know. But there's a point that in your life where your relationship changes, and
that changed it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, my dad was he was a disciplinarian. He was a Vietnam Navy vet. He was also a pastor. I lived a very sheltered high school life. I didn't get to go to my dance. It was wrong. I didn't get to go to movies. It was wrong. My dad was a pastor. So it was a very strict household. He did what he thought was the best for me, and he probably saved me from a lot of grief later.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that.
I mean, he didn't stop you from the girlfriend that would smuggle candy in, but I mean,
no.
So dishonesty, but not one of the safeguards he gave you, but whatever.
Yeah, I fell in love with this girl, and she broke my heart later.
Yeah.
And I never, it took me a while to recover from that, but I had a lot of resentment with my dad. And, what the irony and the beauty of that relationship is, as much as I resented my dad, and there's some other issues that he dealt with that I had to come to terms with and forgive him. Once I found that key to forgive him, that lock, it was also like God just opened up this door of blessings that I didn't even see coming.
Yeah.
There's a new established relationship with my dad I never had before. This didn't happen until, 46, 47.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck is this? But I had to figure out what the key of forgiveness was all about. Mm-hmm. Me being a Christian, I had to deal with those bones in that closet.
Yeah.
And you as a Christian, you realize what forgiveness is and what Christ did for us on the cross.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, all right. And then when that doctor gives you that word, you're like, you're not ready for it. It hits you, and you're like, holy crap.
Right.
And all of a sudden, just this rush of feelings and emotion just collapses your whole world. And so, we go through diagnosis, and okay, you have to have surgery. And we had surgery into that week, and open brain surgery.
Yeah.
And he had a 50-50 chance of not making it. And I remember the morning, we went to see him. It was so comical. My dad, he laughed through anything.
Yeah.
Your life could be falling apart. He'd find some humor out of it.
Find some kind of joy in it.
That was just a trick of his personality.
Yeah.
Because he went through so much pain in his young life. He was severely abused by my grandfather, who I heard was a felon, served time in prison. And to this day, my relatives say it was a miracle your dad turned out the way he did.
Really?
God's grace.
That's cool.
And so anyway, here comes the doctors with the gurney, not the gurney, but the bed to take him to surgery.
Uh-huh.
And then on the TV, I think it was Fox or something we're listening to, they're singing the Battle Hymn of the Republic. The time they rolled that bed in to pick my dad up, my dad lifts up and goes, "Oh, they're singing my song. He's going for brain surgery. He may not live." And my sisters are going, "Bye, he's gonna die.
Blubbering, and he's over
die.
there. He's like, this is nothing.
This is great. I'm gonna go to heaven, baby.
Yeah.
This is my open door to go to heaven to see my wife."
he's looking for the high
and
point.
My dad's like, he didn't care. He didn't give a crap. He's like, "I'm ready to go to heaven. I might see you guys. I may not." My sisters are just losing it. They're just losing their mind.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, "See you guys."
Yeah.
Death did not faze him.
Yeah.
It didn't faze him at all.
That's because I think he's comfortable. I mean, from what it sounds like, he was comfortable knowing where he was going to go. He knew it was up. He's fine with that. I think for some people, the worst part is just, I'm not going to see my family, and I'm going to make them cry.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I think a lot of people. And there's that level of, hey, is there things that I'm leaving undone or whatever?
Right.
But apparently not for him.
He wasn't scared. Nothing scared him.
And so I remember seeing various things you posted online or whatever, and it was just, we're going into the doctors again, and we're doing this again, and
it was a yo-yo. It was an emotional roller coaster.
Right.
Because you have bad days and good days. They extracted the tumor. The doctors came back and said, he may last 3 to 5 years. Okay. he went to a nursing home, the first one, Fairview, over by Albertsons, by the church.
Right.
He was there 4 months, and then he got back up and went home. He was good, and then he was good for about 2 years, 3 years, and then I took off to go work, and all of a sudden, the optic nerve, a tumor popped up in my next optic nerve, and the doctor said, we got to start treating that.
Wow.
And then we're like, oh, here we go again. I took him in. I took time off of work, and my business was supporting me. And he was like, hey, Mark, at least you get to hang out with me and have a vacation. I'm like, this is not a vacation. This is a labor of love here.
Yeah.
This is not fun.
Actually, going to work was Disneyland, so if that was the case, then you got to...
Hanging out with Dad.
Yeah.
I guess the fun part, my dad was all trying to hook me up with all these caregivers and nurses at
Oh, really?
Royal Guards. Hey, Mark, do you know your dad's trying to hook you up with everybody in this place?
You know my son's single, right?
That's what you tell him.
Yeah.
I'd be pushing him down the aisle. I kid you not, caregiver comes up. He knew everybody by name.
Yeah.
He just didn't. He had that memory. He goes, hey, Julie, how are you? Hey, Julie. I'd be pushing him in the wheelchair. Are you single? I'm like, oh, no, here it comes.
Yeah, stop it.
I'm like, God, Dad.
Yeah.
Mark, you need to get married and have some kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then, Julie, are you married? No. Are you single? Yeah, I'm not single. I have a boyfriend. Well, I was going to tell you, you need to go out with my son, Marker.
Yeah, well, moving on.
Oh,
No, Dad, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Stop it
leave me
now.
alone.
And he thought it was the funniest thing. Because people,
Oh, I bet.
Mark, do you realize that your dad's trying to get you married off by
Right.
one of the caregivers here in the nursing home? Like, but he found so much humor in that. He thought that was the funniest thing. And what do you do? Hate him for it? Just, I'm like, what?
No, and that's just it, is that you can't, and that's the fun part of it, I think, especially on his end. He's got to have some joy, and those last...
That was his joy.
He's going through pain, he's going through all this different stuff, so you can only imagine, headaches or whatever that he was having.
Yeah,
And
so it was like an emotional roller coaster. It was like up and down, up and down. That's what I explain to people that go through that. You just embrace the journey, because there'll be a day when he's gone.
Yeah.
You know that day is coming, but live in the now.
Yeah.
Get off your phone, get off Instagram, get off Facebook.
Spend some time with each other.
Live your life.
Yeah.
Just be present with that person that's going through that struggle.
Yeah. And if there's nobody going through a struggle, spend some time with people.
Yeah.
Get off post your stuff online and then moving on.
Yeah.
Get your pictures taken, all this different stuff.
Yeah.
But don't stay face down and see what everything's going on. You don't need to know everything that's going on.
You don't. You're not going to change
Imagine the surprise.
Exactly.
Imagine the surprise when you get to see that, oh my gosh, hey, there's something else.
Yeah.
Going on. Hey, did you see that thing I posted? I didn't. Tell me about it.
Right.
Well, I'd rather show you. No, tell me.
Tell
I'd
me.
rather hear from you.
Share your story.
Yeah, exactly.
And I see what now is, everybody's so consumed with the elections, what they can't change, what they can't control. Well, control what you can control.
Yeah.
The rest of it, turn the TV off.
Yeah.
Turn off. Take the apps off your phone. Get involved in your kid's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in Zoom for school and all that. Take them out for a hike. Take them out on the river. I mean, yeah, it's wintry, but figure it out.
I took my dogs for a hike today.
Yeah.
Go up. There's trails everywhere. And put some clothes on. Bundle up. Whatever you got to do.
I think human beings, we make excuses to be miserable.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what we're making excuses why we should be mad and angry because the election didn't go the way we want them, or that maybe it went the way we want, so we're hating the other side.
Or we got broken up with, or we got we didn't get
people getting divorced over the elections.
Yeah.
Because their spouse voted for Trump and they hate Trump, so they're going to get divorced over elections.
Yeah.
Come on, let's be adults.
Yeah. And that's just it. There's going to be times in life you're not going to get what you want.
Yeah.
Actually, there's Jordan Peterson says that
Right.
if I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have his stuff memorized.
Right.
I'm sure he would be like, fine, don't memorize my stuff. I'm nobody. I'm not a god or anything like that. If you want to memorize something, go memorize the Bible or whatever, or some good poetry. But anyways, what he says is life is hard, and it's supposed to be hard, and life is not. It's not wonderful, and the whole idea is it's hard, and it's a tragedy. Life is tragedy. Guess how life ends?
Tragedy.
Everybody dies. Everybody dies.
Yep, they do.
It's tragic. However, there's a dark side, but that's why we have to find positive. We have to find good. We have to find how are we going to help other people? How are we going to go out and be something for somebody else? And how do we serve? And I've realized this over the past, maybe year or two. The more the joy that you get is more satisfying when you're serving somebody else than the joy you get when you're serving yourself.
So powerful.
There's more to that when you're giving for somebody else.
Right.
And as much as you say, I don't want to do that. Oh my gosh, I'd rather do something else with my Saturday or whatever. Sure, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's all said and done, how much more of a reward are you getting from having served somebody? I mean, just your own satisfaction. Be like, you know what? That was good, because now you're seeing that, once again, that pebble that you dropped, those ripples, and you see somebody's now doing something great because they were given the opportunity because you served them to do more. So just that idea. Yeah, life sucks and it's hard. But you know what? So be it.
Like now I think about my dad having passed away, looking back at it, I was more heartbroken with my mom passing away.
Uh-huh.
But now that I look at it, I'm like, what is wrong with me? I miss my dad more than my mom. And I had a close relationship with my mother.
Yeah.
But since Dad's been gone, I'm like, holy cow, what happened? And so now I'm seeing that the transition of that relationship and that desire, you wish you could, but you don't have them.
Yeah.
So those listeners out there that wish they could, if you have those relationships now in your life right now, they are alive, they're not going to be around forever.
Yeah. Go develop relationships. Exactly right. And my dad even told me, he goes, I'd really like you to develop more relationship with your own brother. My brother lives north of here, and
right.
I'm like, yeah, he and I both know, my brother and I both know, we don't talk all too often.
Sure.
And it is what it is.
Yeah.
But my dad, he's like, I'd really like to see you guys do that. And I get it. I get it.
And sometimes you can't force the will of that person to desire or want a relationship, or create a relationship. All you can do is try. If it doesn't work out, hey, you did your best.
Right.
And you only can control what you can control.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those relationships aren't going to be mended. But I guess I was lucky that I was able to forgive my dad, whatever resentment I had in my heart, and get over that. And we had the best time the last 2 years that he was alive. We just had a blast.
Yeah, I mean, I saw pictures upon pictures. So you'd always be posting something, and I remember most of the time there'd be like old gospel stuff that you'd be playing. Like, he's playing Dad's favorite song again, and you just see your dad going.
You get into it.
His eyes are closed, and he's just like, yeah, this is the best. Same stuff that somebody would be listening to some, like, somebody, just a musician would be listening to some really good jazz. They're in the pocket, and they're just playing their hearts out, and they're just boom, boom, boom. And you get it. You're like, yes, this is like some good stuff. Your dad, he was for this gospel stuff, and I'm not a big gospel fan. It is what it is, especially the older crowd. 80s, 70s gospel.
Yeah.
That's it. It is what it is, and there is a following for it, and there's fans of it, and I'm not knocking it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when I'd see the videos of your dad doing it, I'm like, he's in his pocket. He's where he wants to be now.
I think what it did for him psychologically and spiritually, it gave him that peace of mind that passes all understanding.
Yeah.
And when he got into that music, I'll Fly Away, the favorite song, you'd say that probably 100 times a week, that he knew where he was headed. And the people around him, you look in their eyes of desperation and no hope and lack of faith.
Yeah.
But Dad would belt out those songs, and people listening to him and watching him, they knew he knew.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of his, living testimony.
Right.
Of being a believer, knowing, hey, I'm going to heaven. Are you? And he had witnessed to everybody he came across to. I mean, I called him the little Billy Graham.
Yeah. Honestly, what does he have to lose?
Exactly.
So
he had nothing to lose.
Nobody's going to get all mad at him and trying to punch him out. You're going to punch out a guy in a wheelchair with brain cancer? Really? You're going to do that? You're going to be that guy? No. So he didn't have anything to worry about there.
No.
And you know what? He's not worrying about picking up chicks. So so that wasn't something that he had to be worried about. Oh, I'm not going to impress this girl or anything like that. Which is a lot of the reason you younger guys don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about losing friends. Hey, guess what? I'm going to lose you anyways.
Yeah.
You're going to lose me.
Yeah.
So he knew where he was going, and that's good. Good on him.
I'll never forget the guy that we called him, the guy at the cowboy hat with the cane that sat on the chair next to the admin office there in the Royal Gardens.
Yeah.
We rolled by him, and he was just bitter, angry guy. He just hated life.
Yeah.
He rolled by my dad. He goes, "When you die, Terry Ledlow, you're going to hell, you mother
Yeah.
upper." My dad looked at it and he goes, "Well, Jesus loves you, and if you repent of your sins and trust what he did on the cross, you'll go to heaven, my friend."
Yeah.
My dad did not have a hating, envious bone in his body.
Not a mean.
And that guy
spirit
just cursed him, said he's going to die and go to hell.
Yeah.
And my dad just turned around and said, gave him the gospel right there.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm like, and he almost got the cane. He goes, "And speaking of him, I'm going to beat you up with this cane." He got up and he tried to hit my dad with the cane. My dad grabbed the cane out of the guy's hand and threw it against the wall. I'm like, holy cow. And then the nurses all got up. They had to break
Like,
up.
oh, hey, what's going on?
What's going on?
Old man fight.
Old man fight. The guy could barely walk.
Yeah, neither one are able to walk, and they're going.
My dad is just being Billy Graham to him right on the spot.
Yeah.
You need to repent of your sins, or if you don't, you're going to hell anyway.
Right.
I'm like, whoa. That's like,
Yeah.
I'll never forget that
Yeah.
moment. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's cool that
Yeah.
he was comfortable. He was solid in who he was.
He was.
And he would just do what he knew to be right. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. But he ultimately passed away.
He did. Yeah, that was exhausting. Because I think I was you anticipate, and you have the ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
But it was almost like a release. It's just like all this burden on your shoulders.
All this weight just gone.
Just heavy on you. And the minute he took that last breath, I knew I could watch him have an interaction with the angels taking him or whoever he's talking to.
Yeah.
He was like a deep sleep for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it was like the last 20 minutes. He just deep sleep. And then all of a sudden, I think he was audibly listening for me and my sister to be around. And then he waited. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he has got this surge of energy. He just kind of wakes up. He just does this. He looks up. He had like a look of shock and awe on his face. His eyes were like that big around.
Right.
And he's like seeing something that was bigger than life going. He's just looking up in the wall, and I'm like, my sister were like, "Don't go, Dad, don't go." I'm like, put my arm around him. "Dad, if Jesus is calling you to heaven, go, man, go. Get out of here. Go see
man.
Mom."
Yeah.
And he's like, did that, and he was like, and then he just,
And
his
that's-
body dropped.
And that's when he passed away.
He
huh?
passed away. I'm like, yes, he's in heaven. I was like, everybody's looking at me like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but you're just I think it's that surreal transformation from earth to spirit.
Right.
And when you see it happen, it's just like the weight just kind of.
When you see that, because it's not something you see every day. When you see someone pass away in front of you,
Right.
you know, I've seen it. And I didn't know the person specifically. It was it was a very tragic thing that I saw. But
Right.
you know, that's somebody you know, and you're cheering for it, you know, and you're happy that they're ultimately going to where they know to go,
Right.
you know, and
I counted it like a victory. It's like what's that verse in the Bible that the head of this head of Satan, where something was crushed in victory at the cross? I forget. I can't. I'm paraphrasing.
No, I know it. Yeah, I don't recall myself.
But
I remember. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
He had that victory. Once he took that last breath, and God called him, he just gave up. It was almost like I could watch him leaving his body right in the seconds there. He just took that last breath, and then boom, he left.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, that whole weight was just taken off. I'm like, he's not suffering now. He's perfect.
Right. And so this was a major watershed moment in your life. What'd you say?
Oh yeah, totally. It flipped a switch. It just gave me a new set of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Gave me a whole new value system. All my priorities changed. The way I looked at life changed.
Mm-hmm.
It just
you do things that you want to honor him with. Was that one of the things you said?
Yeah.
You know what? I need to honor my dad,
and that was where the whole idea of the fearless mindset launched. The whole podcast launch was my dad's faith to the end.
Yeah.
He was fearless to his last breath. And that's where the whole thing launched from.
That's awesome. That's really good.
And if he can be fearless in that journey, I need to be fearless in my own life.
Yeah.
But you need to be realistic about things, and naturally you have fear, but most of the time fear sets us back in making major decisions in our lives because we're fearful.
Right. Right.
And now I'm like, when I make a decision, I go. I don't think about it. I just make that decision and move.
Right. You know, and I think that's beneficial. A lot of people don't think of it like that. Like, okay, I'll get to it. And you know, this podcast for me has taken me some time to get going. Mm-hmm. One, busy, but aside from that, learning how to do it.
Right.
And learning how to do it is one thing. Now that I know how to do it, I'm doing what I'm doing. I just got to put it out there. I got to just get it out and say, you know, this is my first episode that I'm going to be releasing, and it's you know, I've got to put it out. I've got to just go do it. And then I've got to make sure that I do it again. And then I got to do it again. Because I'm hoping that people are listening. And that's what I'm assuming happened to you when you put yours out there. You're hoping there's a benefit to this. People are going to listen to it, right?
To be honest with you,
fingers crossed.
I was scared to death.
Yeah.
I was freaked out. My first one with Mike Trout, I was flipping out, sweating.
Yeah.
I was scared. But I had to get over that fear element in my head, thinking, what would Dad do? What would Dad do?
Yeah. See, that's
Go.
cool.
Quit holding back. And
right.
I was freaked out. What are people going to say? What are they going to think about me? I'm going to be having all these haters on social media. I'm never going to work again. All these seeds of doubt. Yeah, they flooded my mind. But I had to get through it.
But like you said, you know, if your dad is the one that he motivated you to do this, whether he said, hey, I want you to go do this or not. And I'm sure he didn't do that.
Right.
Because he probably wasn't a big podcast listener, I'm assuming, right?
He loved listening to KAGO radio, KLDR. In fact, him and Carl Wilson were good friends.
Yeah.
And he listened to the radio. He loved the KAGO for the Gospel Time Hour.
Yeah.
He'd sit and listen to it. It was opposite quality hearing care. But no, he would never told me I needed to do broadcasting radio.
Right. So he probably didn't tell you to do
Never.
But obviously there's a passion that you have for it. Like, hey, I want to get out there. I want to talk to people. I want to get some ideas in there. Taking what he taught you and saying just go out and do that. And like you said, nobody goes out, and a lot of people just say, hey, I'll get to that later. There's a lot of procrastination out there. A lot of people have that procrastination. Even if they want to do something, they're really passionate about it, they'll put it off because, like you said, worried about what people think. They're worried about what people are going to say, and they're all this different stuff. The frustrating thing that we have to overcome, I think our worst hater, our worst person,
our own worst enemy
is yourself.
Exactly.
Absolutely. You're your own problem.
Yeah.
Get out of your own way is the bottom line, you know, what we got to say. So, but we've been cranking this out for about an hour and a half now. This is probably the longest podcast you've got.
This is getting up there with Joe Rogan here.
Well, we haven't quite reached the Jocko numbers. He's like at 3-some hours usually. So,
wow.
But that's okay. That's cool. You know what? I don't have a problem with that. What I'd like to do is have you come back at another time.
We'll have to do another episode.
We do this again. Because there's so many more things we can talk about.
Oh yeah, we're just getting on a roll.
You know,
warmed up.
So, you know, if you're out there, you're listening to us, you know, if there's anything that I can say that would encourage you or motivate you, you know, let it be that you can do so much more than you maybe give your own self credit for. Don't listen to people that hate. Don't listen to people that talk trash. All that stuff. You're gonna trip. You're gonna fall. You're gonna put egg on your face. You're gonna be a failure. Absolutely, guaranteed. And that's motivating, Ken. Yeah, it's motivating because you know what? How many times? Every case that wins, every case that gets taken and wins at the Supreme Court, the United States Federal Supreme Court, had to be a loser first.
True.
Every single one.
Great point.
And if they won or they lose or whatever, every winner at the Supreme Court has been a loser before.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter. You have to fail in life. Life is failure. There's lots of it. And there's you're going to have that one time you succeed. Boom, and you get the job. Boom, you marry the girl or you marry the guy. Boom, you have this epiphany to do what you've always wanted to do. Know that there are people out there that are fighting for your right to do
Yeah.
that, your ability to do that, to be who you want to be with life.
Yeah.
And if you can go forward and be better and then share that, like I've said a couple times, drop that pebble, because those ripples that are going to come out are going to be something that's so much more that are going to help somebody else out.
Yeah. Your story can impact 1 to 1,000 to 10,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just take that word of hope. Because right now, a lot of people need hope right now with everything going on.
Absolutely. So Mark, we can find you where again?
You can find me on Mark Ledlow on YouTube, my YouTube channel. You can find me at Instagram, Mark David Ledlow, or at Mark David Ledlow on Instagram, and Facebook, Mark David.
And I am, there's a What's a Hero podcast on Facebook. There is, I've got my Instagram, Ken Frownfelter, and on Twitter, Ken Frownfelter as well. But until next time.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Go ahead.
The fearlessmindsetpodcast.com.
fearlessmindsetpodcast.com.
Yeah, I forgot. Totally spaced it.
Yeah, don't space it, everybody. fearlessmindsetpodcast.com.
Rock
So,
and roll.
Until then, this has been Mark Ledlow. I've been Ken Frownfelter. And let's do some good with life.
Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll catch you next time.